You know what, Sam?
What?
I think it's time for a little revenge.
Yes, there is. Yes, Sam, hopefully there is revenge in this playoff preview episode against Carolina versus Florida. It's going to be
Yes.
an interesting series, Sam. I
Yep.
kind of knew Florida was kind of going to be probably the team, though, we'd have to face. I'm sure you probably did too.
Yeah, I kind of was expecting it. Carolina will take on the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals. It is a rematch. Carolina lost 4 games to nothing the last time, but all those games were really close. So these teams are very competitive. It'll be fun games. All games were 1 goal games. So Sam, it is going to be a fun series to say the least. Hopefully, we can get a win this time. Hopefully, we can win the series
Yes,
and go on to the Stanley Cup Finals. This will be an interesting matchup as we will discuss.
I'm cautiously optimistic, as I like to say. But Sam, with the series coming up, there is a couple of home games, and what do we like to do to try and get people in, or
Yes,
Hurricane fans specifically, in these seats?
yes. So if you're a Hurricanes fan and you want to go watch the Hurricanes play at Lenovo Center, because Florida Panthers need not apply at Lenovo Center, we don't like you guys anyway. Um, you don't know hockey. I've been to your stadium. You guys don't know the game at all. Yes, I'm going to roast Florida a little bit. They are our opponent. You use promo code Caniac Report, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase on a SeatGeek. $20 off Caniac Report. First purchase. Get to Lenovo Center Tuesday and Thursday to watch the Carolina Hurricanes take on the Florida Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes, definitely. It's a great deal. And also, we have a link for donations. So if you feel like you want to donate, we do have a link for that in both our YouTube and wherever you get your podcast descriptions. And remember, if you are watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. And if you're listening to us, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, whatever, please leave a rating and a review. It really does help us out. Sam, there is a few stuff I do want to get to before we talk about the Hurricanes. One is our thoughts and our prayers are with the Shifley family. Mark Shifley, who I believe is the alternate captain of Winnipeg, his father died the night before they got eliminated. So,
Yep.
Sam, that was a rough handshake line when I saw that.
Yeah, it was sad. And I mean, thoughts and prayers to the Shifley family in this time. But yeah, disappointing. I thought they were actually going to win that game when he scored that goal.
I did too.
Unfortunately, that just was not the case for the Jets. Went on to lose that game in the series. Dallas will play with Edmonton in the Western Conference Finals. The 4 teams are set in stone. But all thoughts and prayers for the Shifley family, though. That's just a sad thing to happen whenever it happens, especially unexpected. So praying for him and his family that they'll have some sort of peace going through this process, unfortunate process.
Yeah, it is very unfortunate. And he's the one that made the decision to play, even though his father passed away. So I think that's very brave of him to do. And obviously, there's no wrong decision in what his decision was going to be made at that time, obviously. But Sam, it was brutal too because Shifley did make a penalty, which caused Dallas to score the game-winning goal on the power play. So again, all of our thoughts and prayers are with Shifley. Another
Yeah.
thing too, this actually came out quite some time ago. Just wanted to mention it. We don't need to go over the details, but the new offer sheet compensation packages are updated for the new year. So if there is any offer sheets happening, they did update the prices on the packages of picks. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to go into all the prices. You can find it on Puckpedia, NHL website, but just letting you guys know that I don't think there's going to be any offer sheets. That's just my thought, just because I think with the salary cap rising quite a bit, I just don't see it. Do you, Sam?
I think it's possible. We'll have to wait and see. You never know. You mean you never know, because it could come to a point where you have a team that will leverage. They might have more cap space, and maybe it's a
Yeah.
play. I'll just use Toronto as an example because Matthew Nyes is a big piece. So maybe you have a team that's like, mm, that would be a. That would put us like there, like right. He would put us there. So they might say, hey, we'll give you a 1 year, 8.5, 9 million, $10 million contract. Now they're giving up a lot. Don't get me wrong, to get that player in return,
Hmm.
but put Toronto for again. I'm using Toronto just because of they're a team that I mean they have some cap space, but they have Nyes, Marner, Tavares all up for contract negotiations. They might sign Marner, Tavares, and have only so much left for Nyes. A team can come in, offer $1 more than they have in cap space,
Yeah.
or even like a million or two more than they have in cap space, and then it's like, well, we can't match.
Yep. So, I mean, offer sheets they definitely create drama, Sam. And I think from an NHL point of view, it could help grow the league just because it creates drama, and people like
Yeah,
drama, Sam.
and
They
don't
do.
forget there were two.
Yes, there were two. And St. Louis was successful in the most recent one because they were able to offer sheet Edmonton's Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. They were the most recent. And Sam, you did mention that Dallas and Edmonton are going to be facing each other in the Western Conference Finals. Sam, what type of series do you expect from that series? I mean it's two teams that I think quite a few fans I would say probably predicted just because you have the generational offensive talent with Edmonton,
Yeah.
then you have a deep team in Dallas. I think I could see this being a game 7, going to game 7, couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yep.
think a lot of it's going to be dependent on how the goaltenders play in Edmonton, how Ottinger plays. I mean, really, it's if Ottinger is just that much better, it could be a short series for Edmonton. But if also you have Matthews or not Matthews, but you have McDavid and Draisaitl just totally dominant.
Yeah.
I expect it to go 7 because you're probably gonna have some nights where it's it goes back and forth. Mikko Rantanen's been excellent for Dallas. As much as we hate the player, you can't deny the stats. Um, and we could be on a collision course for a revenge series in the
Yeah.
Stanley Cup Finals. It's definitely possible. Or I mean, honestly, take a look at it this way: Carolina's going to have a revenge factor no matter who wins the Western Conference Finals, or not revenge factor, but a rematch or one. There is something there, right? Carolina, Edmonton, there is a revenge factor, not for us, but for Edmonton, because we knocked them out
In
in
2006.
2006. If it's Dallas, it's a let's prove, let's get some revenge on Mikko Rantanen for screwing the
Yep.
franchise over,
Hmm.
right? Let's go beat him and beat him to a pulp in this series. So this team has a lot to play for. But I think both Western Conference teams are fun to watch. They're exciting teams. That'll be a fun series. Yeah, I think it's probably a 7-game series, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I would say that too. Again, I think offense leans towards Edmonton's territory, defense, and the goaltending, I would say leans toward Dallas. But I would say if it goes to 7 games, Sam, I would say that probably favors Dallas more than it does Edmonton because I think Edmonton wants to get that series done quicker than it going longer.
Yeah,
That's
I
just
agree.
that's just yeah. That's just
Yep.
how I think it is. But that's it for NHL stuff, Sam. Let's get to talking about the Hurricanes here. And in the most recent practice, which I believe did happen today, it is that both Orlov and Chatfield were out. Now
Yep.
Orlov was obviously resting, so we don't need to worry about Orlov's health. But Chatfield, he is still fighting an injury. And I mean, obviously fans are very excited to see Nikishkin play.
Yeah.
But my question is to Canes fans and maybe to you, Sam, if you're one of them, is there a limit he should play here in the playoffs, or
Mm,
do you,
well,
I,
play you
I
play him
mean
you play him as needed.
I mean I agree with playing him as needed, and I guess limit wasn't the right word for it. It's just, at what point do you start? I mean, do you start missing Chatfield the more
I mean,
you see
yeah.
him, or
No, I mean, I think the more Nikishin plays, the better he's going to get. Right, he's going to
I
get more
do too.
acclimated. He's going to get more acclimated. Missing Chatfield, of course, you're going to miss Chatfield just because of what he brings to the team. Uh, I just don't think that's a fair question for either player. I think Nikishin's excellent. I think Chatfield is excellent, and they're going to be playing together next year. Not on the same line necessarily, but on the same team. You know, they're going to be in the draw lineup together both nights. I mean, yeah, you miss Chatfield, but I mean, if Nikishin's your replacement as he continues to build and get better, yeah, it's going to be a interesting situation for him.
Yeah.
But I don't I don't think that's a fair question, I guess.
Okay, because I mean I don't. Mm. It's just one of those things with Nikishin. I mean, he's a rookie, and the more games he plays, I mean, I do think he does get better, but at the same time, with him being put in the fire and with the
Yeah.
playoffs, you just don't know how he's going to handle that. So it just makes me wonder if there's a limit for Hurricane fans to be like, okay, we want to see Chatfield back, or I'm missing Chatfield right now, you know? So
Oh, I think if you take a look
nothing,
at who we're
nothing, nothing to criticize the Kishin for, but more of just like he just doesn't have that experience.
well, you're getting to take a look at who you're about to play in the Florida Panthers. Nikishin is a big guy, strong guy. He's going to hit. That might be an asset against Florida. Just like I
It
said, it would
could, or
potentially
very
be an
good.
asset against Washington. I mean, not again. I'm not criticizing Chatfield. I'm not saying we're not missing Chatfield. I think we missed Chatfield. Chatfield's been pretty good. I think it was pretty clear he was hurt. It's the last 2-3 games because he wasn't playing well. Um, Nikishin could be a pro, right? Kachuk is not healthy. Marchand's not healthy. You're going up against a beaten down Florida team. They're hurt.
Seems like Lundell probably isn't healthy either. We knew he came back in the game against Toronto
Yep.
tonight, but he left because he was limping. So again, that could help the Hurricanes though, with how beaten and bruised Florida probably is.
Yeah. No, I mean it's absolutely true. It's going to be a thing that we have to deal to take advantage of. Again, I'm not saying it's a good thing when players get hurt, unless it's Tom Wilson. But but it's just you're going to have to not be, don't be afraid to hit them, right? I mean,
Exactly.
you go out there, you hit them clean, they might start to recoil a little bit, and I think you got to take advantage of that. Florida's a very good team. Don't be afraid to intimidate them a little bit. And if game one you got to play Nikishin, I'm fine with that because Nikishin's a tough dude and he's aggressive and he will hit you. And I think that's a pro. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it sends a message early.
We'll see how he does if he does play game one. And as we're talking about game one starts Tuesday night at home. And with us versing Florida, we do have home ice advantage, which can really help the Hurricanes, knowing that they have been undefeated so far in this playoff run. So it's going to be interesting. Sam, let's go ahead and go to an ad, and then we will go into a deep dive into previewing the two teams. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high skates drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. All right, Sam. First things we're going to go into in this playoff series is, because I do have quite a bit of stats here, is the offense. Comparing the offense with both teams. Goals for per game for Carolina heading in 3.4. Now, these were the stats I compiled before Game 7. So this might have gone up for Florida, but because I was kind of getting ahead on the show notes here. But the goals for per game for Florida, 3.55. I would have expected that has gone up probably a little bit with the 5-1 win.
Yep.
So it's probably like a 3.8 something. It's my guess.
Sure.
So Florida has probably an edge in offense. It doesn't really surprise me considering the weapons that they have. Would you
Yeah.
agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, you have Barkov, Reinhardt, Verhage, Bennett. Yeah. Kachuk. Yes. Kachuk was neutralized pretty well, I think, at the Toronto series, but I think he's hurt. So there's
I
that
do
too.
too.
But they still have a lot of Marchand. Goodness, I mean, they have a lot of good forwards. Scoring and offense is not a problem for them.
Yeah, and what's interesting when you look at the top 6 goals or point scorers for Florida, there are a couple players that aren't really in that. I mean, you have Sam Reinhart leading the team with 3 goals, 7 assists, 10 points. Bennett has 6 goals, 3 assists, 9 points. Kachuk 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. Lundell 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. Brad Marchand, 2 goals, 7 assists, 9 points. Luciainen, 2 goals, 7 assists. Same thing as Brad Marchand. But Barkov is not on that list. He's right below, which is very interesting. So the offense is really spread out.
Yeah.
If you look at
Oh,
the
that's a good
stats.
thing. But if you look at that roster, I'm not shocked that it's
Yeah,
spread out. I mean,
yeah,
it's
I'm not
everyone can
shocked
score.
either. Yep. So it's going to be difficult, definitely, to neutralize Florida's offense. And now, when it comes to defense, though, I am going to say this. I do think Carolina does have the advantage, and the stats show goals against per game 1.8 for Carolina. That is ridiculously good. That's like ultimate spectacular mode right there. And then for Florida, goals against per game 2.55. So Carolina's the clear winner there in the defensive category. Sam, if you had to compare the two defenses, I'm sure you'd probably pick Carolina's over Florida's. Wouldn't you agree?
I think. Wait, when you have Jacob Slavin, yeah,
Yeah.
you've got a
Mhm.
really good defense. Uh, and I'm not discounting Ekblad at all. Slavin's better than Ekblad. It's just fact. He is. He's a
Yes,
better
he is.
defenseman than Ekblad. Ekblad's also older. I think Carolina's a good way defensively. I mean, they just are because even if they have some injuries, they have some options. So,
Yeah.
and I think that puts you in such a better situation than Florida on the defense.
Yes. Now, with that being said, Florida's defense probably, it, if you look at them, probably a little bit taller, probably a little bit bigger than Carolina's defense. But I think the defensive ability is still on the edge of the Hurricanes than it is with Florida. I mean, you have Ekblad. I would say the closest thing they have to a Jacob Slavin, Sam, is probably Gustav Forsling. So,
Yeah, and Gustav Forsling is a good defenseman.
yeah, he is.
Ranked high. He was ranked higher than Slavin, I think, at one point, which was really stupid. But
Yeah, it was.
he's
They
a good
also have,
defenseman. I'm not denying that. Just he's not Jacob Slavin.
yeah, they also have Miko Nikola, I believe.
Well,
So I get. Again, very good defense for Florida, but I do think Carolina has the edge there. And I think a
Yeah.
huge part of that, which we'll get to next, goaltending. Frederick Anderson has been leaps and bounds a lot better than any goalie, I would say, in this playoff series, and that
Yep.
includes Bobrovsky. And Sam, as we were watching that game, I know Bobrovsky only let in one goal, but I would say that goal he probably needs to have. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah, it was a 5-hole goal. He let one in similar in game 6, so he can be beaten. He doesn't seem to be the same Bob as he was last year. Hopefully, you take advantage of that. Hopefully, he doesn't become elite in this round coming up, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Freddie Anderson's been the better goalie. He's been the best goalie in the playoffs. Period. End of sentence. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah. And for those wondering, Anderson, 1.36 goals against average and save percentage, 937 save percentage. And with Bobrovsky, you have a 2.43 goals against and an 898 save percentage. Again, that's probably changed after this game 7, of course, but heading into game 7, Bobrovsky was under 900 save percentage, which for Hurricanes players, take note. If you win the series, it's because you're able to crack Bobrovsky. And I believe he's crackable, Sam. I really
Yeah,
do.
he's getting older. Eventually, the magic will wear off. The hope is it wears off in the Eastern Conference Finals, Tuesday specifically, when Game 1 is.
Yes, definitely. Another area too, Sam. Canes have been really good in both areas and on the special teams. The power play for the Hurricanes, 28.1%, penalty kill 93.3. Very elite numbers there.
Yeah. Yep.
Power play for Florida, 21.1%, penalty kill 89.5%.
Yeah, both teams are pretty good on penalty kill. That's what that's telling you. Carolina a
Yep.
little bit better on the power play. The winner of special teams wins the series, and I think those numbers indicate that. Uh, if Carolina can maintain their special teams advantage, they'll win the series. If Florida overtakes that, then Florida will win the series. Carolina cannot win a series that they just tie special teams with. You have to beat the Panthers with the special teams battle. You cannot be a negative fact. It cannot be a negative for you. You have to win the special teams battle against the Florida Panthers. Have to.
Yes. Well, there's a good chance, I think, for Carolina to at least be even in that category, considering Florida's power play. It hasn't really been that good compared to the Hurricanes, at least. So we'll see how the special team goes. But I mean, I would give a slight advantage to Carolina in special teams. But again, heading into the Eastern Conference Finals, things can change. It really can. And so we talked about special teams. And Sam, I did want to throw this up there, but shots per game for and against for each team. Carolina 33.2 per shots per game for them, 24 shots against per game for Carolina. Florida 28.4 for the shots that they've taken and 24.1 for shots against them. So both teams have shown that they can uh, be a little bit stingy with the puck.
Yeah. Carolina, on the other hand, though, has such a lopsided shots for.
They
So
do.
that category is much different. So we'll see if Florida can stop it. I think that's going to be a factor there if Carolina can continue to get their shots. I know the national media continues to criticize Carolina's shoot from everywhere angle, but guess what? We've won 2 series in 5 games in 4 games to 1 fashion. So it's working. Obviously, we've only lost 2 games of the whole series, and by the way, we can win on the road. Just
Oh, yes,
FYI.
we can. We've won
3
how many? 3 games? Yeah.
won 3 games, have lost 2. And we closed out the series in Washington. So clearly we can win on the road.
Yeah, we definitely can. So, Sam, If you had to pick someone who has to be a difference maker for the Hurricanes in this
You know,
series, who do you pick?
I'm going to keep going back to the well because it was the same answer I gave in the Washington series. It's Andrei Svechnikov.
Okay.
If he dries up, then the series is over. You need Svech to continue his tear, or else it's a problem. But I'm going to give you two because I think this matters too. You will not win the series if Sebastian Aho does not show up in the series.
I was about to mention him. I'm glad you mentioned him, Sam.
And I think they're tied. Svech and Aho are tied. They both have to show up. If one does not, the series is lost. You
Jarvis
need
needs to show
Svech.
up too.
I think so, but to a lesser degree. You need Aho to show up. You have to have him show up. You have to have Svech. You're going to get your stuff from Jarvis. You're going to get your stuff from the other players on the roster. Whatever reason, Aho just hasn't been that force you need him to be when you need him to be it, except in game 5 against the Devils. He really didn't show up much in this Washington series.
No, he did not.
He has to show up against Florida. You're going up against who is considered the best Finn in the National Hockey League. Do you want to, if you want to be known as the best Finn, it starts on Tuesday. You have to win this series. You have to be noticeable. You cannot let Barkov push you around.
Okay, so for the matchups, I would say because Brendan Moore controls the matchups, is you would have the Stahl line going up against Bennett, Verhaeghe, and Kachuk. And then I would have Aho going up against Barkov, Rodriguez, and Reinhardt.
Yep.
Do you have any differences in opinion there, or is that what you would do?
No, I agree. Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's the direction you got to go. I think you got to put your heavy hitters out against the Bennett line and then let Aho go up against his countrymen.
Yeah. Yeah. Another question, too, about the matchups. You also have a line in Luosterainen, Lundell, and Marchand. The question is, do you put the Roslovic line out against them, or do you put the KK line out against them? Because with the KK line, you have a bit more physicality on that line. And I think Blake could probably handle a line like that.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Again, you want to keep Blake away from the bigger guys. He's just not physically capable of dealing with the Barkovs and the Bennetts of the world yet.
No, he's not.
And that's not a slight against him, by the way. It's just he's just not bulked out yet. He's a younger player. He'll get there. Jarvis was the same way.
He will. But yeah, I'd probably do the KK line out against the Lundell line, and then honestly, I mean Roslovic again, the Roslovic line, Sam, going out against Florida's fourth line of the Nasic line, that could create opportunities for Carolina.
Yeah,
and it's Stankoven, Roslovic, Hall. You could create damage.
Yeah, you could end up being you're utilizing your third scoring line, which is what they should do. They should be taking advantage of other teams' third and fourth lines, honestly.
Yes, and with that being said, we already talked about the top players needing to produce an Aho and Svech. If you had to pick a dark horse player, like a sneaky dark horse player that could go well against Florida, who would you pick?
Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall's been pretty good. I think he's been good. I think he can be great. And if he's great in this series could be over sooner than maybe any of us fans think.
I'm going to say Jackson Blake. And the reason why I say Blake is he's not going to go out against the other team's top lines, most likely. And I think Florida hasn't seen the Blake that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm just hesitant because Florida's a big team and Blake's just not that.
They are
just not there yet.
That they are, but I could see it, and I wanted to be different from your player, so there was
That's
that
fair.
too.
That's
and I mean, you talked about our players struggling against Florida. I mean, if you had to pick one player, I'm guessing probably two will come to mind. But if you had to pick one that would struggle against Florida the most, would you pick? I'm guessing probably it's between Blake or Stankoven.
Yeah, it's those two guys. Probably Blake, just because he's a little newer to the NHL, where Stankoven's had a little bit more time to get ready. So yeah, I mean, I think those are your two guys, and it's nothing bad about them at all. It's just Florida's big, tough, and will hit you. And it's not saying that Blake and Stankoven won't try and hit you. It's that you can be outside of your weight class and outside of your size and outside of your depth. Jackson Blake will bulk up and get bigger and heavier, and that's fine. That's expected. This is his rookie year. Nothing I'm saying is meant as an insult or criticism to the player. It's just a reality.
Yes, it is a reality. Well, Sam, that's pretty much it. But the last thing I want to talk about, what are your expectations for this playoff series against the playoffs? So this is kind of the conclusion of this episode here.
I'm going to be optimistic. I think the Hurricanes win this series in 7. Um, I think Freddie Anderson's just out to prove something. And if that's the Freddie Anderson we get in this series, I think Carolina wins. I think they win. I think they can win this series in 7. I think Florida will get their chances. They'll win their games, but I think Carolina wins all 4 games at home. And I think that's going to matter. These are 2 very close teams, and there's very little separating NHL teams in the playoffs. And I think Carolina can get it done. I think they'll punch their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Well, I will say one thing, when especially after watching this Game 7 between Toronto and Florida, I was a little bit encouraged as a Canes fan, just because when you saw Toronto out on the ice, they gave up. Carolina doesn't do that.
Yep.
So I think Carolina. I'll be honest here. As long as they can win one game, like, I don't want to be swept again, Sam. I don't want another sweep in the Eastern Conference Finals. I've experienced that too much as a Canes fan, and I'm sure you have too. So I want at least a win. But I do think the Hurricanes are playing with a chip on their shoulder. I think a lot of that has to do with the media calling them out and underestimating them.
Yeah.
But I want Carolina to win this series. I really do. I'm gonna say I think I'm going with my heart with Carolina wins in 7 games, but again, it's conflicting with my mind because I could see Florida winning this series too, just because of the history there.
Yeah, well, I think Carolina punches their ticket to the Stanley Cup Finals. I believe. This team
You believe, Sam?
This team has made me believe in them.
They've given me too much heartbreak. I want to hope. I want to, Sam.
Well, what's the rebellions are built on hope.
Yes, they are, and that's actually a great line. We'll end on that line. So, with that being said, these games do start at 8:00, and we do have both Sam and I have full-time jobs. We will still continue to do episodes after every game, but you're not going to get it probably the next morning because of how late the start times are. So you'll probably be getting it the next night. Would you say that's a good time, Sam? Expected the next night?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. We will see you guys next time.